What is up, my friends? How are you guys doing today? Welcome back and thanks for stopping in. Guys, today it's a great day because we're here with each other, right? You know what I'm saying? I hope you're all striving and thriving and being successful. You know what I mean, guys? Just loving what you're doing, loving who you're with. Today we're going to be talking about a movie called Tales Beyond the Galaxy from 2024, directed by, how do you say that person's name? Caden Butera. All right, guys, so this is an anthology sci-fi film. But let's break it down how I got to watching this film in the first place. So I'm sitting there, it's a Sunday afternoon, and I see this and I thought, oh, anthology science fiction. Let's check this out. You know what I'm saying? Because I love a good anthology film. And then I went and I read the reviews, and people said this was just garbage. You shouldn't waste your time on it. I mean, it really was. It has a terrible Letterboxd score. But I said, you know what? I'll give anything a chance. And so I put on Tales Beyond the Galaxy. And guys, it was not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. It was poorly made, poorly written, had pacing issues out the wazoo. Some of the stories felt unfinished. They felt like they just ended before there was any real climax or resolution. But at the same time, I found myself oddly intrigued by each story. I found myself interested in how they were able to manufacture the special effects they did with such a shoestring budget. I can respect the effort and the ideas, but the execution and the organization was terrible. The acting is it varies on so many levels that it's hard to even judge it, because you have one person who acts like they're in the kindergarten play of the Nutcracker and they're the Sugar Plum Fairy, and then you have another person who's playing it completely straight in the same scene. And you're thinking to yourself, is the director directing, or is he just on some inebriate behind the camera, just watching this all unfold and giggling uncontrollably? Because that's what it felt like in some of these. There's some really good story ideas here. There's some potential. There's a lot of potential in some of these stories, but it's just and the thing is, the different directors had their own styles and things like that, but there wasn't an overall director to put this thing together. And you could tell that. You could tell there wasn't somebody who's like, yes, I am directing Tales Beyond the Galaxy and your stories will be featured in this film. There was none of that. It was like, this is Tales Beyond the Galaxy, and we just took random people's stuff and threw it together with poor editing. And that's exactly what it felt like. But again, the stories were interesting. Some of them had a lot of potential. But what makes a good anthology film is always that overarch, the overarching story that's taking place between the segments. Any good anthology films has that. Tales from the Crypt has that. That's not really an anthology film. That's more of a, show. But, Twilight Zone, all these different anthology films have this overarching story that takes place kind of around and behind the scenes of the 3 or 4 stories that are in the segments. They always have that. This didn't have any of that, and it showed, and it was one after the other, but then it's 5 stories of varying lengths and varying degrees of interesting. But I just couldn't bring myself to not watch it. But at the same time, while I was watching it, I thought to myself, this could have been so much better if there was some organization there. There was somebody there who said, yes, that's an awesome idea, but let's see how it ties into everything else. That would have been cool, but it just didn't. It failed to land on so many levels with me that I'd give it maybe, no, never mind. I'm just going to give it 2 thumbs down, guys. I wouldn't waste your time or your rental coin, even though it was like $2.45 or something to rent it. I wouldn't waste your time or money. I mean, if you see it one afternoon while you're streaming Shudder or you're scrolling through, something online and you happen to see it and it piques your interest, go for it. But it's not a good movie. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your effort. So that's that on Tales Beyond the Galaxy, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and talking for a little while about it. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. And as always, my friends, I am going to keep watching them and making these as long as you keep watching them. Peace out. God bless you, and I'll see you soon.